Welcome, everybody. Welcome, and I thank you to anyone who's viewing us right now. Welcome to In the Now with Simone Jennifer Smith. And I just want to say thank you. You know what? I have to give some shout outs today a little bit. They're not going to be like those type of shout outs, but like LinkedIn in the last, I'd say 2 weeks, my connections on LinkedIn, I thank you for your support. I mean, I've gotten a lot of really great response on LinkedIn for the show. People enjoy the content, and people are actually starting to send me things. So I'm thanking those. I'm not naming people because obviously privacy. I don't want to do that, but I want to thank you for sending me ideas and sending me shows now, because now I know that I'm speaking to somebody and not just to like 4 people and Dave and Anisha. Like I'm getting a little bit more of a, I appreciate you guys watch, but you know what I'm saying? Like, am I not in the middle again? No, you're good. Am I good? Okay. So you know what? Thank you. Let me get that out the way. There's a couple things I want to get out the way, and then I'm going to jump right into some topics today because I have some stuff that's just come up this week, just come up recently, and I think people are talking about it. I just want to give you guys a little bit more details. So, housekeeping, phone number. Okay, so I do want to start interacting more. It's lunchtime, so I know you eat lunch. I know you, if you're watching this, you're looking at this. You can comment on our YouTube page or Facebook page. In the comment page, if you have any questions or any thoughts, please put it in there. I'm actually able to see them now, so that's kind of cool. And you can call in if you have any thoughts. The number is 647-931-4701. Did I get it right? I just asked Real Truths Anisha before, so I always forget it, and she remembered it. So another thing, definitely as a network, we want to set ourselves aside from everything else you find on the internet, and I appreciate the fact that we are doing that. I also want to remind people of those who have been doing this already and who are like now being completely scrutinized. If you haven't heard what's going on with Alex Jones, like I'm sure everyone knows. If you guys know, InfoWars out. Okay, so I'm not going to go into too much about the situation, but I will say this: basically, he cannot do any of his work. He can't do anything because he said too much. And they've censored him. We talked about censorship a few shows back. So basically, honestly, I'm kind of watching this man break down though, like on social media. I don't know if anyone saw his rant a couple days ago. Yeah, Alex Jones, to you, if you were to watch this, take a minute. It doesn't mean too long, but I think you need to take a minute and really look at your situation and strategize. Get it together. Yelling at people, yeah, it's, I guess all rating is good ratings, and acting childish, I don't know. But you know what? I would say, because I do respect the fact that you have put yourself out there, you have put your neck out there on many topics that a lot of people won't even touch. Just like take a minute. That's all you need. Okay, so, and if you don't know about what's going on with Alex Jones, just put Alex Jones in Google. I'm telling you, it will come up. There's a lot going on with him. And censorship. So, let's talk about some things today that this was actually one of the articles that was sent to me on LinkedIn. And it's what you called drug grooming. Now, I've always thought that I know a lot. No, not. I do. I know a lot, even things like on the darker side of life. So I have an appreciation. When I heard this, I was like, I see how it makes sense, but I can't really believe this is actually happening. So this world, as we all know, is a very dangerous place, and for some reason, I'm seeing that it's getting worse. So I want you to take a look at this video, and I want parents to pay very close attention to this, because this is about targeting our children. So this is happening in London, England. Take a listen.
So one of the things we have to understand with young people is that young people are now being groomed. They're being targeted by gangs. They've been targeted by pedophiles. They've been just generally targeted. And one of the processes that groomers use is, and this is really, really simple, so I'll break this down to you, it gets more complicated, but one of the processes that drug dealers are using now is called the chicken shop grooming. And what that means is that they will wait outside schools and find out who goes to the chicken shop. Now, this is the important part. You remember your parents, as parents used to tell you, that nothing in life is free. And it's absolutely right. There's nothing in life that's free, because these groomers will buy your children food. And they will do that over a number of days, and then they will turn around and tell that child, you are now in debt. So let's take, for example, here, your child runs up a £50 debt. How's he going to repay that debt? He's not going to come home and tell you as a parent that he's just run up a £50 debt for food. So what he does is he looks at that £50 debt and he says to himself, how am I going to repay that? Now, this is where the dealer and the grooming comes in. So now the groomer turns around and says, well, all you have to do is deliver some drugs to that person over there. And so this to the young person seems like a really easy way of getting out of debt. So the young person agrees. But the problem is this, is that dealer is organized for that young person to be robbed whilst delivering those drugs. So now you've got a £50 debt, which has now turned into an almost £500 or £600 debt here. So now your child is £600 in debt. Your child is definitely not going to come home and tell you anything. Now the groomer's job is halfway done.
So I don't know. That's insane. I was just explaining this to Dave and Anisha. Like, that's insane. That's dangerous. Okay, the practice isn't new. Go ahead. So the terminology is new, apparently, but the practice isn't, which I'm not surprised. That's what I was saying. I'm not surprised, but I'm just like, people are grimy, eh? Holy cow. So this is happening in London, England. Inner city gangs, driven by a desire to expand their networks into coastal and more rural areas, and avoid, of course, getting caught, they're preying on children as young as 12 years old and sending them hundreds of miles away to sell Class A drugs. Do I have to go through what Class A drugs are? No. Heart. If you're doing Class A, you either have money or you are turning tricks. That's all I'm going to say. So this grooming, first reported by ITV News, it's actually a really good link. It's where I got all this information, in 2016 is completely spiraling out of control. Police have reported a surge in violence linked to these gangs. So, of course, as you guys know, with drugs comes violence, right? So new evidence gathered by the Labour MP Ann Kofi reveals a worrying increase in murders, rapes, stabbings, kidnappings, and torture tactics that gangs are using to enforce their power over young children. So they use children because they're cheap, obviously. They're easier to manipulate and intimidate, and less likely to attract attention. If you think about it, if a police officer sees a child with a backpack on walking, you're not going to bother that child. That makes total sense, right? It's different if you see a grown-ass man with a backpack in the middle of the day walking down the street. You're like, hold on. Like, not that I'm saying a man can't, but you won't hassle a child as much as you would hassle a man. So a black man, maybe more specific. So They manipulate them with promises of cash, obviously lavish gifts, drugs, friendship, and sometimes the promise of creating a better life for the families, which if you're not doing very well as a child and life is not easy, that sounds real good, right? So if they stop doing what they're told, if they start to, they start threatening, obviously the drug dealers start threatening the family now. So it's like, it's a child getting caught up in a situation that they have no control, they have no idea. They don't have that experience to deal with that type of manipulation. It's terrible. So I found a video, I hope it does play, about a young man who was not only groomed, but began grooming. Take a look at this.
I groomed other people, and I also taught my gang members how to groom other kids. I didn't care. You can't care about somebody, because it's all about making money, because it takes money to buy guns, drugs, and I wanted my money, clothes, and, watches. When you're younger and you're seeing, like, your dad doing whatever he's doing, selling Class A's. My older brother, I loved him so much, I started doing it for him. He seen my dad do it, so there was no one to teach him wrong. Mum was working every hour God sent, so he kind of grew me into it. Basically, we used to get a younger person from the area who looked up to us, might be vulnerable. He's got poor trainers, he's got come from a single parent home, mum's on the dole or dad's non-existent. He wants to be loved, you can just see it. He wants to be around us, he looks up to us. So we would make him feel a part of the family. He feels like he's a thug, he's becoming a criminal. And then within a week, it will be, right, come with me, we'll take him out of town, or put him in the house, give him £1,000 worth of drugs, say, right, give me back the £1,000, end of the week you'll get paid. You might get paid £50 to 100. In my prime, I was making £2,000 a day, selling mostly heroin and a bit of crack cocaine. The cops in and out of that town area wouldn't know you, and I wanted to expand my territory to make more money, obviously for various reasons in the gang life.
Yes, we know. Sorry. Welcome back, everybody. I'm always bickering with my teammates back here. Like, there's always something going on. We do need to find a way to do some behind, like, the scenes stuff, because people would die to see the nonsense. So I'm actually going to go on a short commercial break. And when I come back, I'm going to actually tie in what's happening in London to things that are actually happening here in Canada. And this is the part that I really want people to pay attention to, because it affects young girls. I'll see you guys soon on In the Now.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
Welcome back. I was going to say welcome back, everyone, but then back came out a second time, so I just went with it. Did it work? Yes. I think I should, see more things to add to, a cut reel, okay? So when we left off, for those just joining us, thank you for joining us on In the Now. We left off with, and we were actually discussing, because things are always kind of happening in the now on the show, so we're discussing the idea of even dog grooming. and that terminology. And Dave was saying that, you know what, this is it's nothing new, which again, I knew that, but it's important that parents understand that things do evolve, and this is evolving. This idea of what's happening, that behavior is evolving, and it's getting even more dangerous because now they can do it through social media. That's the scary part. Okay, so let's just finish off in London and we'll come back to Toronto. So police fear the practice is rapidly spreading across the country, with gangs increasingly using extreme violence to toughen their grip on new territories and, of course, on their new young drug dealers. So let's go to Canada, where for us what's happening is we're seeing a great deal of human trafficking. So in Canada, human trafficking usually takes place in large urban areas for the purpose of sexual exploitation and involves recruitment, according to, of course, a government report. But we don't need the government to tell us that. We know that's exactly what it is. Predators, they'll see a youth with, again, dirty shoes. So it's unfortunate these kids are being targeted just because they're not dressed as nicely as everybody else. People can tell that, you know what, they might be desperate. They might need something. So they'll pick them out of the crowd. And they're very, very good at this. They're very good. They're very observant. I've always said criminals are masterminds. Like, they need to really teach some of these people who think they're business owners how to really run a business, because they have to do it and not get caught. That's skill. Okay, so eventually the drugs come along, and if the drugs don't come along, sexual assaults are going to come along, because once they've showed you they can be violent, that's it. So this is where it starts to affect our women. The Canadian Centre for Child Protection wants people to be aware of some of the grooming techniques that are used to access and control potential children victims. The goal of grooming is to win a child's trust and cooperation, which decreases the chance of them telling any other adults. Of course, when you have someone who's taking care of you and who's your friend, you're not going to tell on them. So here's a scary fact. We were just talking about online. Snapchat is one of the biggest places where they are now hanging out. So these traffickers are on Snapchat watching. Your young daughters are not safe online. A lot of you have no idea what they are doing online. So this is why, again, parents, it's important for you to be having these type of conversations with your children. It's a great reminder also to tell your children in life, if it's the number one rule, nothing is for free. That's it. Nothing. You can't just get without giving something. Always remember that. And it's something you should remind your children. So I found it's really sad, but it happens. It happens just like this. And again, being aware, parents, of your children and their dialogue and the type of conversations they're having. And it doesn't mean snoop, but pay attention to your children when you start noticing things. So this video, it's called "It's Not Because He Loves You." Take a listen.
My friends don't understand, but then they're still kids. And they're jealous. Yeah, that's what it is. They're jealous that I've got a real boyfriend. A grown-up boyfriend. Not one of those year 9 saps, little boys. His name's Jake. And he's brilliant. He gets me stuff. Party stuff. You know what I mean. And he got me my phone. None of my friends have got one of these. And he lets me drink. He loves me so much. He hates it when I even talk to anyone else. That's how much he cares. But I do things for him that I wouldn't do for anyone else. Last night, I let him and his mates take a picture of me with nothing on. They've been asking for ages. I know Jake won't let anyone else see it. He's not like that. I trust him. And I suppose it's good to do something in return for everything he does for me, right? He asked me to have sex with his mate. I don't really like that kind of thing, but Jake does. And like I said, it's good to return the favour. I mean, fair's fair. I said no when he first asked. He didn't like that. He shouted at me and stopped talking to me. It was the worst 24 hours of my life. I thought I'd lost him. So I sent him a picture of me with nothing on, and he came back. It's 'cause he loves me. That's why he gets so angry. And I love him. Well, I think I do.
So to really, you have to pay attention to this. That's something that in my life I've actually personally seen happen to some young girls. So this is no joke. It's something that parents need to take into serious consideration. So please share this with somebody, anybody, any parents. If you notice your children are maybe acting a little bit different than they usually do, pay attention to everything, and start asking questions. And look, I'd hate to be the person to say, but if you need Snoop, it could save your child's life. I know that's terrible. I used to get so mad at my parents. Okay, so let's move on to a little bit more of I don't know if it's controversial. People are making it controversial. I'm just like, Nike's smart. So let's take a look at, I hope I don't get clipped for this. I shouldn't. It's a commercial. Am I going to get clipped for a commercial? Anyhow, here's a new Nike commercial with Colin Kaepernick.
If people say your dreams are crazy, if they laugh at what you think you can do, good. Stay that way. Because what non-believers fail to understand is that calling a dream crazy is not an insult. It's a compliment. Don't try to be the fastest runner in your school or the fastest in the world. Be the fastest ever. Don't picture yourself wearing OBJ's jersey. Picture OBJ wearing yours. Don't settle for homecoming queen or linebacker. Do both. Lose 120 pounds and become an Ironman after beating a brain tumor. Don't believe you have to be like anybody to be somebody. If you're born a refugee, don't let it stop you from playing soccer for the national team at age 16. Don't become the best basketball player on the planet. Be bigger than basketball. Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything. When they talk about the greatest team in the history of the sport, make sure it's your team. If you have only one hand, don't just watch football, play it at the highest level. And if you're a girl from Compton, don't just become a tennis player. Become the greatest athlete ever. Yeah, that's more like it. So don't ask if your dreams are crazy. Ask if they're crazy enough.
So, yeah, in less than 24 hours since Kaepernick first revealed the spots, actually a bit longer than that, on Twitter, Nike has received more than $43 million worth of media exposure. Of course. In the now, I was reminded, though, that I want everyone to keep in mind the fact that Nike has major sweatshops in Indonesia. Yeah, they're making shoes for dirt cheap. I said a number, but I was probably wrong, so I'm not going to say it on on the news because I don't have the facts. Dave, actually, could you find that? How much does it take? How much does it cost to make a Nike shoe in Indonesia? If you could find it. If you can't, don't worry. I'm just curious, so I want to actually give a number. And they're selling some of these shoes for $200-something. So Dave's the best. These people are predators, so they're gonna always go for them. They know what they're doing. They're not dumb. So the move sends a strong signal to their current roster of athletes and positions Nike as a savvy risk taker. It's not a move that any company can make, but for Nike, it can make it is a big move for them. That's what they're saying, that this is a big move. So let's look at Mr. Kaepernick. So I think I have the picture, the ad picture that they've put out. That's it. So the campaign is just the first step in Nike's new partnership with Kaepernick, an extension. Am I saying it wrong? Kaepernick? Okay. Now I feel like sticking to Kaepernick. It's Kae. K. Okay? Kaepernick? All right. An extension of, I've been saying this man's name wrong. I've been saying from time I've been saying Kaepernick. So Kaepernick, an extension of a deal he's had with the company since he entered the NFL in 2011. The ad features his face along with the slogan, "Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything." So, you know what? When we come back, we'll go on a short break, but people are going off, like burning up shoes and things. Just anyhow, we'll look at it when you come back to In the Now.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
I'm gonna enjoy. Hell, I might buy some Adidas. Not only am I burning my favorite pair of Nikes, you are burning your sales. Have a good day.
So I've got to address a couple things. I think the first thing is I was in the now. I was reminded that I had to be careful of my position. I can't outwardly say that they have sweatshops. This is all effect. Absolutely. I want you guys to take that in. Okay. All right. Now, these people are burning up their shoes. Let's get back to what's going on right now. Do you see how easy media can polarize people? Do you see? I mean, we've talked about polarization. Again, this is from like when we first started, but do you see how quickly people can get polarized? To the fact that you spent money on them shoes. Nikes are expensive. And you're lighting shoe on fire? Again, guys, like, if that's what it's taking, I don't know. So, supporting disruptive athletes has long been part of Nike's marketing, dating to the early 1970s. When the organizers of the French Open actually banned an outfit worn by you-know-who, Miss Serena Williams, the company tweeted, "You can take the superhero out of her costume, but you can never take away her superpowers." Nike's marketing team is sick. Your writers, wow. So, as part of the new campaign, the company plans to release a Kaepernick, Dave, I got it right? Yes. Inspired shoe and t-shirt, and will donate money to the quarterback's Know Your Rights educational campaign. So, for those who just waste money buttoning up shoes, really, Nike really don't care. They don't business. They're about to make lots, boku money right now. So, all right, so I haven't done a full of Friday in a minute. this is kind of a little bit of a Foo Friday story, so I need you guys to listen to this. In this day, in the now, in this day and age, people are still this stupid. So, an American woman was sentenced to a maximum of 7.5 years in prison for smuggling cocaine into Australia. Okay, in her high heels. This is the part that caught me. She then said, of course, that that she was brought into an internet romance scam. So Miss Denise Marie Woodrum, she's 51 years old, was arrested at Sydney Airport in August 2017, and she was charged for importing a kilogram of cocaine. And after this, someone still did this. So it's not like this. Australia, I've heard of other young women getting caught up into this type of stuff as well. And going through Australia, I actually personally know people right now who are serving time in Australia. One young lady actually served time for candy. That's not too foo-foo, but the candy was actually laced within, or sorry, the drugs were laced within the candy. Really, really weird. So was it a scam? I don't know. So Woodrum, who was from Missouri, said she was duped into transporting the narcotics by a man named Hendrick Cornelius because she fell madly in love with him. The judge said, "Bonnie, that's not happening. You're going to serve 7 years." So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think that she was duped? Or do you think she well and knew what she was doing and thought she was going to be slick and get away with that? And some of these younger women who are doing it, how do they get caught up into this? And do you believe them when it's like, I didn't know? Give me the thoughts on that. I call it foolful, but really it's kind of not foolful. It's just like, yeah, I guess it is kind of foolful. How can you get caught up into these type of things, right? So what is coming up in Toronto? So TIFF is going on, as we all know. And segueing right there beside it, parallel, is the Caribbean Tales Festival. So Caribbean Film Festival in Toronto. I'm very, very excited. I pulled up a couple trailers, and then I will kind of go over with you a little history of this film festival. I'm very proud because it's a West Indian woman who's actually not only a producer and is producing one of the films in the film festival this year. She's been doing this for over 14 years. And I mean writing, producing, and this festival, which has been happening for 14 years. So let's take a quick little look at what you have to look forward to. And of course, to the West Indian community who we do reach out to, there's other things happening in the city. TIFF, we love you, but Caribbean people, we have our own filmmakers and producers who are doing great things. Take a look. Tell me what you think. So, Caribbean Tales Festival. Let's talk about it. So, Caribbean Tales is a group of media companies that produce, market, and exhibit Caribbean-themed films for regional and international distribution. So, the Caribbean Tales International Film Festival, now in its 14th year, celebrates the talents of established and emerging filmmakers of Caribbean heritage who practice their art across the Caribbean diaspora worldwide. So, this film festival runs from the 5th to the 20th. And who's the woman behind the magic? Her name is Frances Ann Solomon. So I met her, and she has such a presence, this woman. I mean, she's very serious, but I think it's just because she's like, I don't know, it seems like her mind is always creating. So I think that she just stays in that mindset. But She's an award-winning filmmaker of Caribbean heritage and a writer, producer, and director in film, TV, radio, and new media. She was born in England to Trinidadian parents and educated in Trinidad, Canada, England, and France. She's gone on to build a successful career over 13 years in England with the BBC as a TV drama producer and executive producer. In 2000, she returned to Toronto, where she continued to create, direct, and produce her own projects. In 2001, she successfully launched the very first Caribbean Tales project. So I'm very, very impressed. So today, Caribbean Tales has grown into a group of companies, the Caribbean Tales Media Group, that produces, markets, and sells Caribbean-themed audio-visual content across the globe. So there are some feature films I want to talk about, and I'm going to show a clip for one more. So there's one that I would really like to see, and it's called Dance Hall's Asian Ambassadors, and it's directed by Guy Hall. And there's another one called Hall, so it's Keneal Gay. Then there's one called Hall, directed by Romel Hall, which is a video shot in Barbados, I believe. And then Unfinished Sentences, directed by Muriel Brown. That one, it's very... So it's about a young man who doesn't really have direction when he's younger, and he begins to wear heels. That's how it starts. That's what I saw. He starts wearing heels. Okay? It's interesting because I get why they titled it Unfinished. So there was some short films, too, that I thought were really interesting, and I'm going to show you one of them by director Ackley Olton, and it's called Black Doll. Take a look.
Look, Toots, here's the answer to your problem.
Tears running down her eyes. They should just cut off she hair.
Oh, Jesus, Grandma, pulling me hair.
So there's another one. That one's just like, again, you know what? I appreciate these films because they do discuss topics that need to be discussed. That whole idea about hair, I actually had a conversation with someone about that yesterday, and that's why I think that one kind of stuck out to me. And there's also another one called The Haircut, which was directed by Elizabeth Francisco. So I think it's going to be a great film festival. I'm definitely going to see if I can get out to at least catch some of them. So I'm going to take our last commercial break, and when we come back, we'll honor Kevin Talkman. We'll honor a legend. We have to honor a legend. And we'll talk about dealing with life now. I wanted to add this piece in, and because we're in the now. See you guys soon. It's true. You don't sometimes realize what you have until it's gone. So you guys heard, we lost Burt Reynolds at the age of 82. Yeah, you know what? I had to talk. Smokey. Smokey. It's Burt Reynolds, man. Like, he's the most interesting man in the world. It's absolutely like he was wow. So Reynolds suffered a major heart attack yesterday, I believe, day before. He was transferred to Florida Hospital because but of course he didn't recover from the heart attack. And in poetic fashion, and I love the fact that he was surrounded by his family when he passed. That is great that everyone was allowed to, well, not everyone, we don't know for sure, but it sounds like most of his family was able to see him before he transitioned. So heart problems were a major part of Reynolds' life for almost a decade following his heart surgery in 2010. So for you young ones, you guys may not really get Burt Reynolds, but we have West Indian parents, us, anyone from the age of like, I would say 26 to like 55, anyone in that range, your parents were fans of Burt Reynolds because his movies were funny. And he was just, again, he's one of the most interesting men in the world. So many people remember Burt Reynolds for his roles in Deliverance, Smokey and the Bandit, which is clearly Dave's favorite show, Cannonball Run, which was one of my favorites, and of course, one of the ones that I remember the most was Boogie Nights with Mark Wahlberg. I don't know if anyone remembers that movie. Okay, so for you younger ones, actually, maybe I shouldn't direct you to them. Never mind. Scratch that. Okay? You leave that alone. So I today did a interview with him, and it's so interesting because I happened to catch one of the last questions she asked him. This is just months before he died, actually. He put out one last movie right before he died. So take a look at this short video that Today did with Burt Reynolds, and then we'll move on to some more better ways to live your time and your life.
If someone were to do a movie, Burt, on your life, and someone would play the role of you.
George Clooney.
George Clooney, without hesitation.
Yeah.
That's the guy.
Well, why not?
Exactly.
He's a little,
all right,
not quite as good looking, but he's still got a lot of.
So, just again, most interesting man in the world. So, I'm now going to do a small series of dealing with life in the now. Because for you who are watching it, you're going to have to go back to work soon. Lunch is nearly finished. Or you're on your way home and you may have to get into like mom mode or dad mode. So the first week of school is done, and now you're doing your countdown to the end of the work week and the fact that you can celebrate your weekend if you do get a weekend off. But what about the fact that you may not really like your current situation, regardless of how great people may think it is? Because, of course, everybody has an idea of your life, but no one knows your life but you, right? And maybe your partner and maybe some members of your family. But even them, they don't know the intricate parts of you and what makes you who you are. So I want to offer some life lessons that I have taken and that I feel would be great for you by some people that you do know and recognize who have been very successful in their life. So I always say, if you're going to get any type of advice, get it from someone who's done more than you, not someone who's not doing anything. Okay, so lesson number 1, and I'm going to let the person say it best, but I'm going to just talk about them. When someone tells you who they are, believe them and say thank you in the middle of a crisis.
Here we be in Maya Angelou's bedroom, the big brass bed. Yeah. Talking about life lessons, one of the most important lessons I ever learned from you is when people show you who they are, believe them.
Yes, absolutely. A person says to you, I'm selfish, or I'm mean, or I am unkind.
Or I'm crazy.
Or believe them. They know themselves much better than you do.
Now, I think perhaps the greatest lesson you've ever given me was the time I called you in the bathroom crying over something. Now I can't even remember what it was, but I was crying. I'm telling you, I got a problem. It's a real problem, and you're telling me to stop and say thank you. But that was life-changing. Because I now get that the ability to say thank you in the crisis means your faith is so strong.
Nothing can come against you.
Nothing can come against you.
Not princes, nor paupers, nor principalities. Nothing. Nothing.
I really appreciate it. I appreciate Maya Angelou, and I actually appreciate the friendship that Maya Angelou and Oprah Winfrey had. You could tell that Oprah was the willing learner, and so was Maya. Actually, she was teaching and learning all at the same time. So it was a great dynamic, and it's something I want to reiterate again. Lesson number one: when someone tells you who they are, believe them. And I say this because I know many people who won't listen when someone tells them exactly who they are. And then they wonder why later on, after they've tried to manipulate and change them and it hasn't worked, they get in their feelings or they get upset. Well, because I told you. I mean, he told you that. I swear, she told you that. I don't cook. She told you that. Don't get in your feelings and get upset because you're asking, why am I eating out every night? She told you she doesn't cook. Okay, so rule number one in life. So let's talk about rule number 3. So I like this one, and it's something that we speak about a lot here at TCN, and it's how will you serve the world?
How will you serve the world? What do they need that your talent can provide? That's all you have to figure out. I can tell you from experience, the effect you have on others is the most valuable currency there is. Because ultimately, we're not the avatars we create. We're not the pictures on the film stock. We are the light that shines through. All else is just smoke and mirrors, distracting, but not truly compelling.
This man, and again, this is someone who we had a conversation this morning, and it's something I first learned from Jim Carrey, where he actually wrote on a check exactly how much he wanted to make a year from where he was. And he folded that check up and he put it in his wallet and he kept it there. And he would keep looking at it. He would remind himself of it every single day. I wish I had found that video to show you guys. This is the type of advice, because this man is a millionaire. This man lived his dream and visualized it from the beginning. From the very beginning, he had a vision and he set a course and he put it in action, doing that actual writing down of the number. Like, that type of stuff is so powerful. And he's so humbled by it. And again, he serves the world by sharing this information. He just shares it. People may just don't want to listen, but he's like, this is what I did, and it works. And this story happens over, and you hear it over and over again. So the very last video I'm going to end off with today is something that I really stress about, is knowing who you are. Like, that would be your lesson. Learn who you are. Who are you as a person? It's very important for you to understand that, okay? So I also want you guys to do me a favor after the show is done. If you have any great life lesson that has been shared with you, our parents sometimes have some good ones. Anisha's dad has some great ones. Put it in the comments below. I don't care where and how bakayad it sounds, okay? Because West Indians can say some things that make no sense. Dave, give me one. It's not, I'm not saying that. Leaves dropping in water that rot. Like, I'm not going to go into that one. But leave a comment. Who are you is the very last lesson I want you to really observe. Learning that is going to change your life. Guys, have a wonderful week. Leave your comments below. Like, share to continue the conversation. And please have yourselves a wonderful, safe weekend. I will see you next week on In the Now.
I get up every morning and I say, who are you? And I used to get up and say, who do they want me to be?
Don't give up on things. If you can't, you may not be able to do one thing. You might be able to do something in another form. But I think that attitude is admirable.
Love who you are and be who you are wherever you are.
So many times I've been just so hard on myself, so critical on myself, that I've forgotten to enjoy a lot of fun moments.
When people said, you'll never be an actress because you're too fat, it's always really nice to look back and look at those people who always said, you can't. Who do you think you are? it can be done, and go, I did it.
Don't let anyone steal your joy.
A lot of people talk about their dreams and they talk about what they want to do, and they post it on social media like, one day I'll go here and one day I'll do this. So I would say to all those young girls to get off the computer and go outside and do something about it.
There's nothing more pathetic than a wasted voice. I can't do it.
You really have the power to be anything you want to be and send whatever message you want to send.
I have great access to many emotions, despair and darkness being some of them, but I choose to stand in the light as a person.